crush it with Maizex canola. Maizex Seeds is 100% focused on Canadian farmers. Your source for high-performance grain, silage, and grazing corn, as well as soybeans and, new for 2026, canola. Visit Maizex.com to find your local Maizex representative.
Well, there's always things that are going on in the beef sector, and right now at the ranch level, things are looking pretty good from a profitability standpoint. But there's demand domestically, but also internationally. That is a big driver of all of that. Of course, joining us to chat about what's going on globally in the beef industry as it relates back to Canada is Eric Bienvenue, who is the president and CEO of Canada Beef. Eric, how are we doing?
Very good. How are you, Sean?
I'm doing good. We just probably showed how my French is. Not very good.
I think you're doing very, very good.
Okay. So, hey, Eric, let's start off here because I just want to make sure it's clear for a lot of our listeners because there's different organizations doing different things and there is some crossover sometimes in some of the lanes, but I want to make it clear here. What does Canada Beef do?
Well, Canada Beef is essentially a marketing agency. So our goal is to create value for our producers in Canada in enhancing demand, enhancing awareness, but as well working with our stakeholders to develop markets around the world. And as I would add as well to work on domestically and maintaining and enhancing our demand here.
And so what are some of the ways that you go about doing that? What is that like on a Tuesday or Wednesday morning? What are you and your staff, what are you taking action on?
Well, essentially, we're a levy-funded organization. So we have a group, a team of 28 people located here in Calgary, in Toronto, but as well, we have market presence in Japan, South Korea, Taiwan, Vietnam. Now, recently, we opened up an office in the Philippines, who Samantha looks after Indonesia. We have market presence as well in Mexico, and we're looking into Colombia, but as well developing in the next few years the Latin America portion. And Albert, our VP of Market Development, looks after the Gulf region. So essentially, what we do is we work on different initiatives. Goes with seminars, customer awareness, samplings, social media, all marketing initiatives that would not only present our Canadian industry abroad, but as well in trying to enhance consumers and future consumers to buy and consume more of our great Canadian beef. Canada export more than 50% of its production. 92.1% is sold in 4 markets. So USA, 72% is exported to the US. We export as well to Mexico, to South Korea, and Southeast Asia. All those markets, except of Japan, have seen tremendous growth in the past few months and this past year, with the exception of Japan. Japan is our second largest exporting market, and we're seeing a maturity in the market. And because of the devaluation of the yen currency, it makes it a little bit harder for us to maintain our market share. However, our export has increased in value over the past 6 months to almost 8%. And we are aiming and developing and marketing in other markets in the near future.
As you're talking about the way you go about this or the structure here, it's like trying to lead the horse to water, right? So you're not doing like, okay, Japan, you're going to buy X amount. Your promotion, handling probably some of the technicals on the why, and then obviously there's Canadian exporters that step up to have those negotiations. You kind of set the table for them. Am I describing that right, Eric? Because I want to make sure I am.
Well, you are. We're working very close to with our stakeholders, that is all the meat packers exporting to the 50 some markets in the world, and in collaboration with, the association you've talked about at the beginning. So CCA on the trade issues, on CMC, on some other advocacy aspect. Our goal is not to advocate or to work on trade related issues, but more so in marketing and enhancing the brand awareness that is on the beef side, and as well finding new markets and new ways in increasing our demand. Obviously, as you know, Sean, and been privileged to listen to you every week, the world has changed since January. We have been so dependent on one market. Indeed, we are a North American market. However, it is important for our sustainability to not only have the maximum doors to be able to increase the value for our producers, but as well to rely maybe less on exclusively on one market. As I said, 72% of our export is to the US. It has dropped since January by 5%. And we are very diligently working on the Southeast Asian market, but as well the Gulf market. And I've mentioned a few minutes ago, the Latin market will have to be tapped in. We haven't been as present as we should have been, and it is a market that shows tremendous growth.
So when you say Latin market, you mean Central and South America?
Now, Mexico and Colombia, we have a great presence, but I'm thinking of and I'm talking about Chile,
Okay.
Peru, Uruguay, Guatemala. So all that southern part of the South America, we have done some market initiatives and marketing promotions, but we will be more present in the next 18, 24 months, not only there, but as well, as I said, in the Gulf region. And needless to say, Philippines and Indonesia, which we just opened up an office, is shows great potentials.
Yeah. When we look at exports, a lot of times we'll talk about, pounds or kilos, but there's also the value. And you mentioned this, like, we need to make sure when we look at some of these different markets, some markets are high value. They're like, they are the highest value cuts, the biggest components of that carcass. But then there's also the markets where it is lower value, but it's also, it adds, it's more of a tonnage number, but it adds up to, that overall carcass value, which is incredibly important. What are some of you kind of mentioned the Latin America markets as being exciting or a big opportunity. Talk about Asia a little bit. What's going on there, and how Canadian product is viewed?
Well, I would tell you that first, export balances your product mix. To think that we can solely depend on our Canadian market and having the same value as you just mentioned would probably be mistaken. So Japan is our second biggest market. As I said, it's matured. It brings home this year, compared to last year, about $8.78 per kg versus $8.22. The country is facing different challenges on the economics, on the currency variation, but as well looking at some maturity, aging population. And our goal there is to maintain our position, to maintain our market share. We sell about 10% of all of our volume to Japan, and our goal is to maintain it to 10%. South Korea shows great potential. We are in disadvantage with the U.S. The U.S. has zero tariff. And one other thing that I would tell you is since Trump or the new government took power, they go at a speed to have new trade agreements that is unreal, and it kind of put Canada in a disadvantage. So for Korea, we are in a trade disadvantage with tariffs. In 2029, we're going to be playing in the same level as the US. Um, Korea has shown tremendous, as I said, tremendous increases. We've increased to by 2% our export to Korea, and I personally believe that we have a 6.9% market share of our export going to Korea. I think we can reach 10% easily. Vietnam, last year we've increased our sales to Vietnam. Taiwan, we see 43% increases this year so far. And again, it's working with our stakeholders, our meat packers. The Philippines is showing, as I said, uh, tremendous potential on the value. We've increased it to $7.43 compared to $6.99 last year per kg. However, the GDP, the average age consumer, and the disposable income keeps increasing in the Philippines as well as Indonesia. Um, China, one thing that I would say is we don't have access, as you know, since the past 4 years, but remains a very important market for Canada. And we are pressing with CCA and CMC to regain access. I know the canola business is facing tremendous challenges, but for our beef industry, it is a market that we want to regain and regain fast.
Yeah. Is there a path there, or is that path sort of? I've often compared it to like there's a road. It's just constantly in like a blizzard, like where you know that you're going to get to the destination. Eventually, we will have access again. We're just not exactly sure if we are 10 miles or 100 miles from town yet.
Do I think we're going to regain access? Yes. I believe personally that there's a process in place where not only Canada needs to find a new agreement with the U.S. first. Second, there's going to be the COSMA renegotiation, and thirdly, I think there will be a an opening for a new agreement with China. I don't think we can go against it. We can go without it. It's just a matter of finding a landing ground. Um, we have to be a little bit more patient, I guess. But I think I see resolution in the near future.
I've to finish up here, Eric, I've heard from other stakeholders this, in Canada and in the US as well, this term, Trump speed, and especially on the trade file, where they are trying to move as fast as possible. Outcome yet to be determined, but they are trying to move faster. Is this you said that it put Canada kind of at a disadvantage. Do we need to alter our aggressiveness or the speed at which we try to do these things as a country? Is this kind of is there something to learn from this, or do we have a good way of doing it?
Well, without being in the advocacy sphere,
Yep.
as I mentioned, we are more on the marketing side. But as a business person, I think we have to learn from it. Canada has great resources, has a beautiful beef industry, and we keep saying to the world that we are a North American marketplace, and in being such, then we need to have the same playing level field as our American friend. So yes, we do have to expedite our actions. We do have to probably lessen the burdens here nationally, and giving more resources to have trade access that are the same or even better than our American friend, so that our industry not only gains from it, but as well grow from the actions that can be taken from our partners here in Canada.
Eric, really appreciate you joining us here today. Thanks so much. And we got to have you on more often. We're going to make that happen. Hey, I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Sean. Talk soon.